Good morning, everybody. As you can tell, I've got the entire crew of coffee breakers from the last 12 weeks. I don't know if everybody's got coffee with them. Derek's got coffee flavored water, we just heard. I've got my infamous Cookie Monster with me. We thought we would end our last full week of coffee breaks by bringing you WZ's staff picks and highlight some of our favorite ones throughout the last, it's been 3 months, which is pretty insane. So first, just thank everybody for sticking with us and engaging with us and watching. It's been really neat to see all the communication back and forth. We've had a fun time being able to interact with you guys every morning, whether you liked it or not. You woke up and had coffee with us in the morning. So thanks for doing that. We've had over 17,000 views, over 100,000 impressions on these clips, which is just awesome. So thanks for you guys for being interested. I know you heard it this week, but we're going to keep these going just on a different basis. So every Monday, we're still going to have a jumpstart to your week with a coffee break. And our director of Latin America, Juan Valverde, who you got to know, is going to also do a weekly episode. So we're still alive and well, and we'll be coming to you the next several weeks. I'm going to kick it off with my staff pick and then pass it around to the coffee breakers here to give you theirs. One of my favorites from the last 12 weeks, last 3 months, was our own Patty Mathieson, who's on here. Just rolled their eyes at me. But Patty did a coffee break called Ask What or How, and referred back to a book, Question Behind the Question, QBQ, and took some of the lessons she learned from that and how she incorporates it into her day-to-day business. So I thought that was a really good takeaway for the group. And I'm going to pass it around to the rest of our team. Tony.
All right. Thank you, Dave. It's crazy. It's been 12 weeks that we've been doing this. That really flew by. I'm sure we'd all love to repeat those 12 weeks. Everybody? No? Quarantine over? Okay, that's fair. So my favorite, it was really hard choosing, honestly. The one that I ended up going with was from May 22nd. It was the contact tracing one. What I liked the most about that was Dave Thompson's, was it kind of wrapped in all of the concepts that we have been teaching over the last 12 weeks into one practical way that you could use it in what's happening right now. It talked about rapport. It talked about the importance of selecting the right type of question, the importance of active listening, follow-up, and then ultimately getting the truthful information. So really cool way to look at what we teach and how it applies to really everything, even current events, what's going on right now. So off to Juan Valverde.
Thank you, Tony. It was not easy to pick one coffee break out of lots of them. Really good. I had to stay with Taking Care of Each Other from Brett. It was a great coffee break, but it was right on the money because it was a topic that everybody was taking care of each other all over the world. I mean, everybody has to be on their toes for somebody else's. So I love that topic, and I love that coffee break, taking care of each other. And now I'm going to pass it back to Brett.
Thank you, brother. And the check's in the mail for that endorsement. You know what? It was tricky. It was really hard picking one. There were so many that were so well done and so clever. The one I chose is the gentleman right below me, Mr. TP. He did one on planning your return strategy. And I loved it for a couple reasons. One, I now know that when, and notice I said when and not if, I say something absolutely crazy, at least, and it's caught on film, one person on this docket will never be able to give me grief for it, and that's Tony, because he introduced the segment by saying, "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens," which, by the way, is his new ringtone for me forevermore, as long as we know and love each other. But his message was absolutely awesome. I loved the piece about doubling down on yourself right now. If there is ever a time to believe in yourself, educate yourself, find passion for yourself, and create fulfillment for yourself, it has definitely been these last 90 days, and we all need to come out stronger. So well done, my friend Tony. It was a great message. I will pass it on to the real muscle of WZ, Mrs. Sue Thompson.
Thank you. I did not know we were going to get money for endorsing Brett, so I will also look for my check, which thanks. I picked Brett's questions from the field. I picked it because I think it's great to hear from our clients. It's great to hear what you guys are thinking. And I think Brett gave some great advice, and he also made it very funny, which I'm a sucker for some humor. My favorite funny thing he said in that one was answering what's the best part of teaching virtuals versus live? And his answer was no droplets, which I loved. So that was my favorite, and I'll pass it on to Chris.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. I, much like everyone else, had a tough time going through it. What I loved about what we were able to do over the last couple months was have a mixture of tips that we were able to pass on to everyone that was related to WZ and WZ's theory and interviewing, as well as some of the personal things that messages that we went through, like Tony's message of opening up that Brett had talked about, et cetera, Patty's experience of what she took away from the book, et cetera. For me, though, the one that I liked, and I'm going to stay with the tip side of this, was one that Tony had brought out. And it was empathy, pass it on. And I like the message that Tony had in that one as well, in terms of taking empathy and how we use empathy around an interview and how important it might be for an interview and helping to build rapport and show understanding and how we can weave empathy into the interview process. But one of the part of the message that I really liked that he had in that was the fact that when this was done, it was on April 20th. So almost 2 months ago, but he talked about the fact that we're all sharing the same experience. We might have different a reality within that experience, but we're all sharing the experience of being trapped in our homes for a bit and shelter in place. And so having empathy towards one another for things going on in current events at the time, when he sent the message out, we're all dealing with this pandemic in different ways. So we do have a common experience and a shared experience. And I really like how Tony brought that to a personal side, as well as how it could be related to the interviews. So well done, Tony, and well done, everyone, for what we did on these. It was fun to do, no doubt about that. Kelly, what do you got? Who's on your list?
Hey, Chris, thanks so much. So I'm going to give it to Tony again. Tony, your head is, it looks like it's getting bigger and it's not going to fit in there soon. He's that way. Right. So my pick was tips from working from home. So I do that on a daily basis. And I thought he had a lot of great pointers, but the biggest takeaway for me that Tony talked about was structure and schedule. So I know that that's a huge challenge for me from being from home for many different reasons. And I find that if I don't stay structured or within a schedule, you can easily find yourself very distracted. I have 3 dogs. And the refrigerator is right around the corner from my office. So those are the 2 things that distract me the most out of the day. So I know that if I don't stay within a structured schedule, I am easily often doing other things I should not be doing, like, I don't know, maybe some TJ Maxx shopping or, things like that. So it is so important. I found for myself. And when you talked about that, even in our personal life, I know from being locked away, I'm a social butterfly and I love to work out, but I have to be out of the house to do it. If I'm in the house, it's like sticking a drunk within a bar and locking him there and telling him, be conservative in your drinking. That did not work out well for me. So I'm super happy that I'm let out and I'm back in the gym. But that is the biggest takeaway that I took from that, is that I need to stay structured to stay on task. And thanks for that, Tony. So now I'm going to pass it on to Derek.
Hey, thanks, Kelly. So the one that I picked for this review here is Dave's presentation on what to learn from Netflix, and I picked that one because I think that it was an interesting topic for our audience. Because we have a lot of true crime fans, a lot of people who follow us who also watch, all of these different documentaries on Netflix. And I think what Dave kind of did was show that can also still be a learning experience for practitioners if they look at it through a critical eye. It kind of just gave them a way to turn what would have been kind of passive time into active professional time. And so I thought that was a good way for them to kind of approach that and a activity and a tip that they can use moving forward, because there's never going to not be true crime documentaries for them to watch. So I thought that was a good tip. So now I am going to toss it over to Wayne.
Thank you, Derek. So when Dave asked us to pick our favorite one, I picked one that hadn't been done yet, and I got called out on a little bit. It said "Back on a Bird" from Brett. Probably chose it just selfishly because I'm ready to get back on a bird, like I know all of our instructors are. So I'm like, yes, I'm ready. My wife is ready. My kids are probably ready. So, and then listening to the message, the positivity that Brett had in that was amazing. So you didn't let me down, Brett. And I greatly appreciate it because I'd already selected it without hearing the content. And the fact that we need to take care of each other, which is another program that Brett did as well. And the positivity that you had in that coffee break yesterday was phenomenal. And I know those of you who are listening who love to travel are ready to get back on the bird, as a lot of us are as well. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. And with that, I will pass it over to Patty.
Hi, good morning. Mine is the one I selected was Brett's as well. It was managing stress while sheltering. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but a lot of the things that we've talked about just this morning, our favorites, are all something that can be used for many, many months and possibly years to come. So when Brett did his coffee break on managing stress while sheltering, stress isn't going away whether we're sheltered or not. And one of the key takeaways that he provided to us was suggesting a media blackout day for 24 hours, set the laptop aside, set the phone aside, focus on your loved ones and what's important. And God, that just sounds really good. So that was great for while we were sheltering and something that can be used moving forward. I'm going to pass it back to Dave.
Great. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, everybody. That's an exciting list of tips. We'll make sure we post all of those. If you missed the last 12 weeks, you've got a full day of video to watch today, but at least we made a short list for you. I also just want to comment, nobody was able to pick one of Juan's tips because none of us have any idea what he's saying. But I do want to call out, every week has been pretty incredible to see the international presence we've gained from Juan's tips every week. We've had people from Latin America, from Spain, from really all over the place engaging and interacting with Juan. So thank you to Juan. We would have picked yours. We just don't know what the heck you're talking about, but it sounds perfect. So thanks again to everybody who's been doing these every week, to the WZ staff, and also obviously to everybody who's been watching. Set your schedules for Monday morning for the next several weeks, and also for Wednesday morning to check out Juan. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and cheers from your coffee break team.